In three, two, one. What's going on, folks? Welcome to 34 Questions. I'm your host, 34, and tonight we have Gus in the building. How you doing tonight, Gus?
Good, I'm blessed, man. Thank you for having me, bro.
Absolutely, man. Thank you again for coming through, making time for this interview. It is a Monday evening, and Monday's not great for everybody. So you know how it is, but for sure.
And this Monday is a real Monday. You know what I mean? Like Mondays be Mondays. This is a true Monday. So it feels good to you know what I mean, to sit down and just to forget about things for a little bit.
I got you, man. I got you. Hopefully, yeah, this experience can kind of, let you feel at ease a little bit. It is beneficial for me, man. I love starting off my week with a conversation with somebody new, getting to know them. So thank you for giving me that opportunity. For the folks out there who are unfamiliar with the flow of the show, we typically do a little warm-up just to get things rolling. After that, we'll jump into an icebreaker to cool things down. And then after that, we'll turn to the Wheel of Fate, where we'll spin the wheel, whichever number it lands on. That's how the conversation flows. And after all that, we finish out with some closeout questions. Sound good to you, Gus?
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, my very first question for you is, how are you? You've been doing well? You've been doing great? How you been lately, man?
I am blessed. Things are things, life be lifing, but in the grand scheme, you just gotta look, as my wife always reminds me, you just gotta take the positive shit and make that your center of focus, because you focus on all the rest of the noise, you could lose that little piece of joy. So it's just day by day. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean, man. For you, do you feel like that's something that you work on, or something that comes natural as far as like seeing the positive side of things, most of the time?
Constantly working on that, bro. Like my wife is she is a true professional at it. Like she helps me refocus. You know what I mean? She helps me she reminds me of, it could have been worse. You know what I mean? It reminds me, because I'm a person that could focus too much on things, and when you focus too much, sometimes you get out of focus.
No, I hear you. Yeah. I feel like that almost every day, dog.
Come on, man. Come on, man. We're shooting right now.
But it's a constant of refocusing. Like, I feel like that's what I do every day. And I think that's how it is for a lot of folks. There's a lot of distractions. I don't know if you feel that way, but I feel like I got a lot of distractions in my life.
Damn.
And it's all about trying to take that step back and think of the bigger picture and focus on the bigger picture, and continually to work on it. It's a struggle, but I think it's what makes life worth it, right? All right. Well, in that case, we will jump into the warm-up. My first question for you in the warm-up is, what would you like the audience to know about you, man?
I'm a simple man. You know what I mean?
Well, what are, like, if I was going to ask you the 5 things you feel like you just need in your life, what are those 5 things?
Family, faith, foundation, and fetty. I like to keep things in like an F form. No.
I got you.
Family definitely. Faith, as far as a constant reminder that, there's always a greater good. Financials, let's keep it real. I'm an old man, so the finances got to be up. You got to take care of that sure. Financial well-being. You know what I mean? Financial wealth. That was 3. Was that 3?
Yeah, that's 3. And then I don't know if foundation was a real one for you, but I remember that's what you said.
Yes and no.
Okay.
I want to say yes, because foundation is always remember where you came from, kind of thing for me. And sure. I guess the next one would to be always create. Always be a creator. You know what I mean? Like find something you like to do and create. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean you have to get paid for it, but it's healthy to do that.
For sure. I got you. Talk to me about being a creator. Like, I know, I reached out to you, I feel like, because of your podcast. I don't know if you want to plug it in right now, but tell me about creating. When did you start? What did you start with?
The podcast. Well, shout out to the podcast. Shout out to Jan. Shout out to Ramel. Shout out to the earlier members that really rocked. Mono and Phil. Podcast is called Free 99. The basis, the name of that started because I'm an old head. Like you look like you're a young boy. You probably like in your like your late 20s.
I appreciate that, man. I'm 33. I'm actually turning 33 this Wednesday.
Oh,
so
man. Yeah. Happy birthday, my dude. Happy birthday. So enjoy that youth. Enjoy that metabolism. You know what I mean? Enjoy all those nice things that in your 30s you don't overlook. But yeah, Free 99 started because back in my 20s, I was a club promoter, and it was a free party we did. Me and some homies. Shout out to Tone. Shout out to J Plus. Shout out to Rube. We used to do free parties. We call it Free 99. And it was where it ended was a club in Burlingame called Blush, and it was a free party. It was open bar till 11, and it was just it was a little different when I was young, man.
Yeah.
It was a little different.
Okay, I got you. I'm like, how you pull that off? How, like, is that still possible these days? Probably not.
If the club is willing, and yeah, but it was a cool little party we did. My boy Phil, who was one of the DJs of that, very good friend of mine. I've known him since high school. Me and him actually were at Disneyland with our young families, and then me and him was just talking shit on the tram. I don't know if you're familiar with Disneyland, but there's a tram from the pickup to drop off of the parking lot. Mm-hmm. And me and him were just talking shit to each other. And then a kid 2 rows up from us, because we was all the way in the back, was like, man, these guys are funny. I would listen to their podcast. And it, I heard it. I didn't really digest it until like almost 2 years later. And then I reached out to my boy Phil, and I was like, hey man, me and you got good chemistry. We naturally just riff. When you got those people in your circle that you could just, like, you really just riffing with, like, there's a conversation about nothing constantly happening.
Yeah.
It has no direction. And that's me and him. So me and him always vibe like that. And then I reached out to my boy Mono. Mono actually, and I'm jumping around. Mono actually was an engineer for me when I was doing the club thing. If you guys search on YouTube, all right, if you guys search on YouTube, you search We Eating, WEEATING, Big John, JON, and Gus. We were like the original Bay Area, like, food. Like, how everyone does, oh shit, so I dropped my mic. Hello. You good, you good. You know how everyone now does like a food show on IG and whatnot? Me and him did it on YouTube. We featured Senior Seasick before they popped. Before they even launched. Like, shout out to Gil, shout out to Evan. That's family for real. Like, we featured them on the show before they popped. We had, like, I don't know if y'all are familiar with Anthony's Cookies, but Mono was my engineer, and he did the video and he did the camera work for it. I'm talking about camcorder, kids. Yeah. No one had you know what I mean? Like a reel-to-reel shit. We had to buy the film, and then we had a food show. Mono was my engineer. I loved creating with that dude, so I was like, hey, I need an engineer for the podcast. And he actually went to school for recording in Arizona, but he doesn't use it now. Like most people get the degrees, but we created the podcast, I want to say 4 years ago. And then within like a little over a year ago, my boy Phil, shout out to Philly Phil, he had to exit. He had to focus on the family, and then Mono had to exit. And then I don't want to say I backfilled, but then I connected 2 other dudes, Ramel and Jan, and then we just been rocking, and we just got done recording episode 172 with Scotty Fox, Bay Area legend. Shout out to Scotty Fox, man. That's my motherfucker right there.
That's what's up, man. That's a wild story. It seems like, like myself, you picked up a lot from your past and brought it all together for this podcast. I wanted to ask, What'd you do before? What I do before?
Turn the tables on you, man. I know how this works.
Yeah, I know how it works, and I appreciate you doing that, man. Because I like this to be a conversation too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, my first dream at 12 years old was to be a rapper, right? So I spent 15.
What kind of rapper? Who was that 12-year-old's? Who was this rapper's rapper?
Okay.
Who was you?
Before rap, I was listening to like Radio Disney and shit, right?
Okay, I'm with that. Cordon Bleu.
Now a little bit before that, I feel like I missed that. But you know, I was surrounded by my cousins who listened to 106 and 94 and everything, so that had a lot of influence on me. But the rapper that really stuck hip hop in my mind was Nas. It was One Mic,
Mr. Jones.
Back in 2001, 2002. I heard that song. I went to Catholic school, right? So One Mic was like the first song I heard with like Jesus bars in it, and I was like, oh snap! Like you could really be rapping about, you know, this stuff that I'm currently in the Catholic school. And then
what color were your corduroys?
Oh, they were black for sure, man. Black corduroys. I had a teal sweater. I don't know if you know St. Finbar out in Glen Park.
Yeah, that's right by City College.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm a real city boy. You know what I mean? I'm really out here like that. Not anymore. Not anymore.
I like how you recognize it though, man. Not everybody knows that stuff. But yeah, so that happened from 12 to 27. But honestly, I did not have, like, I had the dream and I had the idea, but I didn't know the steps. I didn't know what to prioritize. For me, it was all about making the best song in my bedroom. It wasn't about like performing and being at shows and getting my name out. Which I feel like I just missed that train of like all these SoundCloud rappers and, you know, kids who can just pop off making hits in their house and putting on YouTube and TikTok and all that stuff. But anyways,
what was your first track?
My first track was
what was it called?
It was a diss song.
To you out there shooting already at 12, huh?
It was my homie who we liked the same girl at the time, and then she dissed both of us at the same time. So we were like, oh, we got to make a diss song about her. And that's how it kind of started. It was like writing some funny rhymes about her, and it was like, okay, that's off. But then I got hella into it because I had that teenage angst going on, and I just needed to express myself, put it down on paper.
A lot of fire in the teens, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of fire in the teens. Yeah, I feel it.
For sure. Yeah, so that happened. Turned 27. My dad's like, "You're not a famous rapper. What you gonna be doing with your life?"
So you continue to make music.
Oh yeah, for sure. I was making, so like from 12 to 18 was really like a time for me to like. I remember I was forcing stuff out too. You know, like, oh, I need to write 3 pages of rhymes every day, kind of thing, or like at least 3 songs.
That's not a bad thing though.
It isn't, but I could tell looking back now that it's, you know, reading those rhymes or listening to them, it's like, I know, you know, if you're gonna make 20 songs, how many make an album? You know, it's like 1 or 3, 4, 5. So that's how I felt about those rhymes, where like I'll read them, and then there's bars maybe like in sections of them where if I could just piece it all together, that'd be a dope song. But yeah, so I still, I mean, even today I still, like Saturday mornings, if I have the time, I'll put beats on and just write, because I feel like it's something that feels good for me and something I'll never let go, something I don't want to lose. Oh yeah, that's my relationship with music right now. But definitely took a step back, and then I tried to do a clothing brand too. And when after the music was the clothing brand.
I did one.
Yeah. I don't know if you made the mistakes that I did, but I jumped in too quickly. Try to build something that really wasn't ready to be built just yet. I didn't have people to do it with either. So, you know, I do really believe in that saying, like, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I was by myself, so I was going fast, but not really, you know, going that far. And then,
what was the name of your brand?
It's Hella Hungry.
Is that right?
I don't know if you've seen it around, but I mean, I could definitely shoot you guys some merch for sure if you're interested.
Hey!
But yeah, I got some stickers. I don't know if you can see that. It's
there you go.
Yeah, but anyways, now that's taken its own growth and journey, and I can tell you more about that later too. But Corona happened. You know, we're all at home trying to figure things out. And I was working, my first job back from Corona was like a graveyard shift kind of job. I don't know if you've seen those white vans that say Waymo on them, driving around in the city. It's like the one with hella cameras and stuff.
Yeah.
I was working for them, and I was driving at night, you know, doing graveyard shift, and I don't know if you believe in that whole thing about like thinking at 3 a.m. where like everyone's mostly asleep, so like the frequencies are flowing differently in your mind and stuff. But I was and I was listening to a lot of podcasts at the time, and I was like, you know, a part of my ego was like, I think I could do this, right? And I just think all my conversation with friends is always like a podcast material, is podcast material, because I like talking about ideas, deep stuff. I'm never really like a surface person, especially if I know you. Like, I'm not much of a talker unless we talking about like solutions or ideas and stuff. So that's what kind of sparked it, and I just started rolling with the podcast with some friends. I think the thing that got me really excited was this idea of having random questions, right? Like there's 34 questions. You can kind of choose, and each interview won't be exactly the same. And that got me really hyped. And I'm like, cool. I think this could be a cool little like twist to the podcasting. And I know it's super saturated, right? They say that all the time. And I remember thinking to myself, the number though, like what keeps me going too is thinking about like, yeah, there's a lot of podcasts out there, but how many podcasts are still there after 1 year, after 2 years, after 3 years? So it's kind of like, you know, you stick with it, then that number starts getting lower and lower, and, you know, maybe it'll lead to other things. But
that last like 5 phrases that you just said, the last 5 things you just said, like really hit home with me, because like when my boy, Phil's my best friend. Like I'm the godfather to his kid. We were in each other's weddings, and when he left, it kind of hurt. But at the same time, I'm not one to tell no man, no, you can't leave. You know what I mean? I was like, are you? And I wanted to be like, it's cool, like it's good, like we're always gonna be family. You know what I mean? Like I wanted to go through this voyage with him, because I started in the club industry because of him. He was a DJ, and he was like, come be a DJ. I tried it, and I was whack. Like, nah, I'm not doing this. He's like, just be a promoter. And I was like, all right. So I became a promoter at like 21, because he kind of molded me to that. You know what I mean? And so for the person to kind of put like, quote unquote, put me in, to give me a shot, and for him to tell me, he's like, nah, man, I'm good. Like I have to focus on other things, you know. And the podcast could have just stopped then. We're already above 100, but I was like, I love it too much. You know what I mean?
I hear it, dog, for sure.
Like therapy, right? Like it's like grown man therapy.
You know, there was a joke about that. It was like, it was like, oh, my friend started a podcast. Like, oh, what is he in his 30s? And like, it's like,
pretty much.
Yeah. And I'm like, that's very true for me, for sure. But I hear you, man. I could never get this off the ground with some friends, even though we had talked about it so many times. And like, you know, the thing is, everyone lives their own lives and different priorities and what they enjoy. So yeah, with me and my homies, I've gotten them on the pod every once in a while. And every time I do, it's like, oh, did you like that? Because we could continue doing that, even if it's like an offshoot or like a different thing. But still, scheduling sucks, especially the older you get out. I mean, you know, you're talking like you my OG right now, so I know for you, there's
someone's OG, man.
the older you get, it's harder to like have lives align, right? And try to pursue things.
Come on, I'm out here on your podcast drinking tea. I'm an old man. You feel me?
I got you. How do we know that's really tea though? I'm just messing. But yeah, man. So I hear you, and this isn't, and I hope, you know, for you, it feels the same way for me, where it's like, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna find a way to continue to make time for this, because it is something that feels valuable. And let me ask you, man, what it is about podcasting that really like sticks with you or makes you want to keep doing it?
I'm an asshole. You know what I mean? And like, I'm that guy at my family party that's always talking shit. So
I got you.
It's just a part of my DNA of who I am. Like I'm very much a people person, right? And some people will say I'm funny, but thing is, I don't feel I could be funny to where I'm gonna do stand up. I'm more like spontaneous funny. If I was to like pin down my humor, you know what I mean? Like if someone goes, go tell me a joke, I'm not that kind of funny.
Ooh, dude.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I hear you.
I'll make fun of a situation if I like from my perspective. I'll make fun of shit. You know what I mean? And why I like podcasting is because it's because I'm honest during it. You know what I mean? There's a lot of things that happen in life that you're not. And I want to say even with podcasting, some people are not honest with their podcast. You know what I mean? And I don't know who watches me. Like till this day, like. I'm just thankful for people who still rock. I'm thankful for people who repost. I'm thankful for people who liked and people who like, you know, showed interest into what I'm creating with other people, you know? So it's what I like about it for me. What I like about it is because I'm honest and I'm authentic, and it's I don't like I'm like, no knock to you, because the way you're doing a podcast is different from how I do a podcast. Sure. Because I go off the top. Sometimes it's not the greatest thing to do, but it's always true for me. You know what I mean? Like I found you and I liked your podcast because of how it's formatted, because you really like thought about it thoroughly, and then you really like put your time and energy and really think about it. I'm over here just talking shit. Like, you know what I mean? That's why, like, yes, there's a million different podcasts, but there's a million different kinds of podcasts. So, you know what I mean? Like, shout out to you for still doing it. Cause I remember fucking, I can look at some of the earlier episodes and I was like, man, 20 views, you know what I mean? 34 views. And like, I stopped looking at that. Right, because you can't look at that as your album sales, right? It's everyone's in the gym right now. You know what I mean? So just keep doing what you're doing, because you're doing something right, man. It's just, I appreciate we just got to keep at it. That's all that is.
No, for sure. And you know, I like how you mentioned how our approach is different, right?
Yeah.
you telling me you the asshole, and like you can be honest and open on your podcast. For me, it's but
respectfully.
Yeah.
Respectfully.
Yo, I think we're all assholes, right? It's just, are you open to letting everybody know that? But for me, for me, same thing as far as like I can be honest and open on my pod, because I'm the quiet one usually. Like
I can see that.
Outside of this realm, I'm very like, I'm the listener, and you know, I'm not gonna say something unless I feel like I have something important to add to a conversation.
Shit. Shit.
But it works. It works, right?
No, it does. It does. And that's you, right?
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that I feel like, as someone that's coming from a different place, that you're recognizing that though, right? Like you already were saying that for me, it's been really thought out, and you know, when for me, I don't think so, but it's interesting to hear the perspective from other people. Like, nah, it looks like this, or you're presenting it in this way. But who knows?
You're professional as fuck, dog. I'm telling you. You got a calendar.
Yeah.
You got this motherfucker like send me a calendar, and I get to pick days. I just tell people like, hey, are you available on this day? Can you pull up? Your shit's so, you got a whole thing. You're professional as fuck, dog. I'm telling you. You know what I mean? Like, how many episodes are you in?
I'm nearing 200 now. So
woo!
Almost there. Yeah,
you feel
almost.
Me? Woo! I feel good, don't it?
It does. It does. I'm not gonna lie. It does feel good.
And you got a lot more than me. Damn, dog. Really?
Not a lot more. You said you had 170, bro. You right there. You right there.
But you're nearing 200.
Yeah. I'm almost there. Nah,
that's dope, man. So we don't look like, you know, you can't always look at the numbers, right? Yeah. You got to look at the content, because the content's always gonna be fire.
I hear that, man. And I like how you brought that up too, because yes, I was that same person fucking looking at how many downloads I had and or like how many plays and stuff, and it sucked. I don't know if you ever did stocks or like, you know, crypto for a bit, but that's the feeling that I had. I was checking it every day to see if it went up or went down, or like where I'm at and stuff, and it took me a while to get over that. Like, I feel like the first year I was really into that, and I was really trying.
How'd that do for you?
what it do or like?
No, how to do? How did the whole cryptos?
Oh,
Did
the
you
crypto.
bubble? Did you bubble?
No, so like I wasn't the person who put hella money into it. I put like 100 here, 100 there, kind of see how it
How
went.
much you think in total you had spent like total
Total?
cash? Yeah, in crypto.
I definitely put about 500 in different ways, and I think if I was gonna say how much I took out before it started like going crashing, I probably took out. I took out a good time, but then I didn't take out everything. I was like, oh, cool, I'm gonna let this ride, take out what I need. So if I put 500 in, I probably got like damn near close to taking like 450 because I pulled out at a good time, but then it crashed right after that, and it was like, okay, I gotta take everything out because I can't.
Took your money out, like I'm gonna buy all this studio equipment, dog. I'm gonna start a podcast.
It's like buying a lottery ticket. Like I don't know if when you buy a lottery ticket, your mind just goes, oh, what everything I could do with that money if it happens.
Real talk. And then I don't know if because we're in a day of age of like positive talk or like speaking shit to the universe, right?
Yeah.
Like when you buy a lotto ticket, like one thing I was always told, like act like you got it already. Like act like you got the money already. Not like don't go spending everything, but like the money's in the bank already. You know what I mean? Like when you do things, you do it with intent to where you already have like, I don't know. I'm talking shit. Go ahead.
That's the advice though. That's the advice is to act like you got it already. I've done that.
Yeah. It's you got to keep doing it. You just got to follow through. Sometimes people don't follow through all the way.
You're not dedicated enough.
No, man. You don't want it that much. You don't want it that bad, dog.
If you're not sleeping in your car in front of the 7-Eleven, you don't want it. But no, I got you.
My bad, man. I go on tangents.
Honestly, man, I embrace whatever happens, dog, on this show. You talked about like, me being very structured, but a lot of my guests who come on and like to talk and just like to go off the cuff, that's what we do. I'm not really tripping off like, oh, we gotta go to the next question and stuff. But for sure.
You work with kids?
What's up?
You work with kids?
I do. I don't know if you see the Y right here.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see. I can kind of feel that vibe.
Yeah.
Like
what's
you're
that
like
vibe?
Big Kuya vibe. You know what I mean? Even though I'm older than you, I feel Big Kuya vibe right here. Like,
I appreciate that, man.
I fuck with it.
I work at a high school, after school program. So I'm just rocking with kids. Yeah, you talk about being assholes and just like going off the cuff. These kids, man, they make me laugh all day long because they're so, I don't know if they're serious when they talk shit to me, but I laugh it off anyway, and I think that's why they rock with me. It's like, I'm talking shit, this guy doesn't even care.
No. Yeah, you're hella patient. You're hella patient.
Yeah. I think that's one thing that sticks out for me for sure.
If that was me and I wasn't married, I'm gonna be like, watch, I'm gonna date your mom. I'm gonna hook up with your mom and your auntie. Watch, I'm gonna be at the house eating dinner with you. Quit playing with me, boy. Quit playing with me, boy.
That's hella funny. I mean, these parents, man, it really depends on which parents you see every once in a while.
I'm saying, I'm at the PTA.
Doing some overtime work, right? Like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make these calls to these parents. Gotta see what's going on. How the kids doing at home.
Could call outreach. It's gonna be doing outreach, right?
We got an event going on. I think you'd be perfect for this.
I'd love to see you there. I'd love to see how we can collaborate.
How can you get more involved into your kid's life? Like,
how's everything at home? Everything cool?
You need some groceries? Like, I can bring some.
You ever need
really
to talk?
Slip into their life.
Feel free to let me know. I'm here to support the whole family.
Yeah. It might work on some
way,
folks. I don't know.
We just shooting right now. I'm married, happily married. I love my wife. Shut up. Talking shit. We just talking shit right now.
Yeah, talking to my girl too. Don't know her. We just talking shit.
Yeah. We have loved ones. We're all right. We're all right.
For sure. All right, Doc. Well, let me get you to the second question of the warm up. All right, which is, oh man, I already messed up. But there it goes. Popped up at the bottom. How would you like to be honored? if there's a way or like some act I could do to express the energy you possess, what could I do to say, yo, this is for Gus right here?
Be you.
Be me?
Yeah, man. Oh, like you can't like say you want to honor me, man. That's honorable enough. Like just keep doing what you're doing, man. It's dope. It's dope to see that how different you can create. Just I'm just fortunate enough to be here. You know what I mean? So I'm already honored by being here.
I know, man.
I'm not even a rapper and I'm spitting, dog. You see that?
You got the bars, man. You got the bars for sure. But I got you, man. I'll be myself, and hopefully everybody else out there will be themselves for you as well. At least you know, 'cause they know you so authentic that you know, they can't front. They gotta be like us. And then my last question for you in the warm up, man, is on a scale from 1 to 10, how well do you know yourself?
1 to 10. I'm like a 7 or 8.
Why 7 or 8?
I feel like we're constantly growing, right? We're constantly like as we grow older, like things change. Like I thought I would never. I never thought I would be that dude that would need to drink hot water before bed because of acid reflux. Like, you know, growing old, you got to do certain shit before you go to bed, and you don't like it's you're constantly growing, and you're constantly like as you get older, and as you know, I have a family, and as you add people to your life, you find out more about you and who you are, how resilient you are, based off of the people who need you. So I say I know myself, but at the same time, like there's times where, you know, you can surprise yourself with how you do in certain situations.
No doubt. When would you say is the last time you surprised yourself and you was like, oh shit, that's me? I can do that?
Last time I surprised myself. That's a great question.
We could come back to it.
Yeah. Oh,
come back to it?
Yeah. I'll come back to that.
Well, let me ask you this then. What would you say is your favorite thing about your personality?
That is my favorite thing about my personality. I feel like you relate to anyone.
Word.
I feel that I've been given the gift to be able to talk to people and make people feel comfortable, and you know, not a lot of people have that. And then it's something I'm very proudful of. Like I feel I could meet someone and I could instantly find a common denominator for us to like vibe on.
I hear that, man, for sure. You feel like you discovered that early, or that you discovered that late? Like it wasn't something that you were aware of until you got older? That ability.
Maybe like 18-ish when I didn't go to school. Well, I went to school for a little bit, but I got a job, and like in that job you have to interact with different kinds of people, like, and you have to be able to. I'll say more so in my 20s, because I worked at this country club to where everyone was balling. It's a country club, right? Everyone's rich. Everyone got dough. Everyone's either a lawyer, doctor, whatever. Family come from dough. I was a doorman, and I was, you know, I'm a brown dude. You know what I mean? In my 20s, young boy, as a doorman. That was my 9 to 5. But I also had a second job to where I worked in radio promotion, and I would have to deal with the hood, like the hood, like out there in like the real hood. Like this is like prime hyphy area, hyphy era. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To where so I had both those jobs, and I had to be able. I don't want to say turn it on and turn it off, but I was able to hold a conversation with anyone. As long as I found like to find that common denominator. You know what I mean?
For sure. for sure. That is wild. And I think you probably had a lot of stories of interacting with folks at the club or country club, and then out in the streets. But that was just like sharpening your iron, right, or your skills and stuff.
That's pre-camera phones, y'all. That's pre-camera phones. So people really had to be out there, and it was, clubs. I don't know. Last time I went to a club was way different because everyone's on their phone.
Yeah, no, that's true.
Right? Like my going to club, no one was on. Everyone was partying. Everyone was partying. It's not just for when the camera's on. You know what I mean?
For sure. Yeah. I don't know if you've been to a show lately. There was one show, I think, I'm trying to remember the act, but it was some DJ, and they made us turn in our phones to it's like a code check or whatever. Yeah, it was weird, man. I remember my girl not believing me. She's like, "You lying? They didn't make you turn in your phone," because I wasn't answering my phone calls all day. But I had to really defend it. But anyways, I don't know if that's a new thing that's gonna start happening. I think it was Dave Chappelle who does it at his shows because he doesn't want nobody recording his stuff either.
Yeah, speaking of your favorite rapper, I was at a Dave Chappelle and Nas and Lauryn Hill show, and then they had us turn on our phones for Chappelle's set just so because he was still working out the material for a special. Yeah, but yeah, they had us turn on our phones. That's funny.
Oh, you went to a Chappelle, Nas, Lauryn Hill show recently?
No, this is pre-pandemic. This is a Shoreline too.
Yeah, this is so wild. What a show, man.
It was good. I've seen Lauryn a lot of times, and she is a shitty performance when it comes to being mindful of people's time. But I love Lauryn. I love. That's my favorite MC, female MC. Like Lauryn Hill is up there. I fuck with El Boogie tough, but she is a shitty performer when it comes. I remember going to a show, and she said she was supposed to go on 11, and it was like 1 o'clock, and she hasn't come on, and it was like a Wednesday, and I was like, I'm going home.
Yeah, I'm
going home.
I had a similar experience with R.I.P. DMX, man. Never got to see him live, except this one time pre-pandemic. It was on a Sunday night, and me and my girl were out there from like 9 o'clock till like midnight, and he still hadn't shown. And then like there's a DJ just trying to get the crowd, like keep him chill. But I had work the next day, and I'm all like, oh no, we gotta bounce. And then I remember leaving, and I had read an article that he had done a surprise show in Coachella that day. Like he appeared at Kanye's set or whatever, and I'm all like, God damn it, like I can't. I understand, but it sucks that I have to be on this. And apparently he showed up like at 12:30 or 1 o'clock to do like 3 songs and then left. But
how much was that ticket? $20?
I was probably like 40-ish, after taxes, probably like 50 now. But I love DMX, so I was really juiced to see him, and he didn't show up. I remember feeling a little ill taste in my mouth, like I probably won't go buy another ticket to a DMX show. And then 2 years later he passed, and I'm like, fuck, because I still want to see him at some point. But yeah, anyways, Lauryn Hill, I've seen her a couple times as well, in like big festival kind of environments. So I guess I didn't really notice the time frames when that was happening. But yeah, they're a bit more strict there, like at festivals, because it's a time, like you have to go on at this time if you want to get paid. Like I went, and it was like a Lauryn Hill concert in the town, and I was like, and it was a terrible performance. She did. I love her though. I love her too.
You know what I mean? I don't know what people go through in their lives, but for those 2 hours, I wasn't a fan. But I fuck with L tough.
For sure.
I fuck with L tough. You know what? How tough I fuck with L?
How much?
Did you see it? Oh, no, not over there.
Oh, boom. I see it. Yeah. Boom. She's part of your set, man. She's part of your set. Yeah, man.
She is.
That's what's up, man. Have you checked out Dissect? Shout out Dissect. It's like this freaking person. I don't know what he is exactly, but I know he studies music. So when he like does his podcast, he breaks down every song to like really get into the details of each song, every sound, where it came from, and all this stuff. Great podcast. But if you haven't, I would suggest he does one on the Miseducation, where he breaks down every track. But where are you on that? As far as like, I don't know if you really keep up with celebrity news and stuff, but Coachella just happened. Frank Ocean didn't do so hot for the fans out there. And I feel like there's that divide of like, some folks are like, oh, I understand Frank, you know, like he's a person too. He can't be handling all these other things. And then there's the other side of like, nah, you got to be solid with your fans. The fans are the reason why you're doing these shows or like making this money or being there. So like you got to show them some love and, you know, follow through these performances. So like, where do you kind of land on that as far as understanding the artist versus like, yo, man, like we love you. That's why you should be out here. But anyways.
Coachella's a business.
Okay.
Right. So yeah. Coachella's a business, and they thrive off of the popularity of their acts. That's why they have them, right?
For sure.
It's to me, it's as long as he doesn't do it to his own shows, that's different. But where Coachella is different now, right? Coachella is not just a concert. It's so much more.
Sure.
Coachella is so much more. It's the trendy thing to do. Like people go to Coachella and not even know who's performing, right?
Yeah.
Because it's Coachella. Like I don't know how long it's been going on. I just know that it got really popular and Tupac was there in a hologram form. That's what I remember and how Coachella came on my radar. So
I got you.
Frank, you know, he's an artist and he's sensitive about his shit. So you know, if I'm gonna give anyone the benefit of the doubt, it's gonna be the artist over the business.
I hear you, man. I hear you. I think I default to that too. It is
as
like,
a rapper, you know, as a rapper,
we sensitive about our shit, man. Very true. I mean, yeah, it's an interesting conversation to have. But we don't need to get into it too deep. We will be moving on to the icebreaker. All right. So here we go. Icebreaker time. Give you a choice. You want to do a word association or this or that?
Let's do this or that.
Cool. So let me pull up the countdown. You're gonna have 34 seconds to do as many as you can, but that doesn't really matter. I just want to give you that time, that little pressure to see how your mind goes, and then after that, I'm gonna follow up with a couple of your answers. Ready? Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Sort by price or sort by rating?
Price.
Win a race or win a debate?
Debate.
Regret or doubt?
Regret.
Roller coaster.
Doubt.
I see what you did there. Roller coasters or water slides?
Roller coasters all day. Big asses don't belong on water slide.
Growth or security?
Ooh. Security.
Hero or anti-hero?
Hero.
Show. All right. I feel like I definitely want to ask you about growth and security. You said security. Why security?
I got a young one. It ain't about me no more. You know what I mean? When you start having kids, it's not about what your dream was, what your, you know what I mean? What great idea you have. If you're not providing at home, you're not providing, right?
Yeah.
You're not taking care of your family first. You could do all the other stuff. This is me personally. Like, if you want to do that, that's fine. But for me, if I can't take care of my family, if I can't take care of my family, then I am not growing. So I will be secure with my family. Just give you some feedback on that. Current profession I'm in, was trying to teach me something new for a different position, and without giving too much detail or
For sure. Yeah.
I chose the profession I'm in to be able to be available for my family. If that makes sense. And I didn't want to. I could have went the route and then seen big dollars, whatever. But I chose something that would give me security with my family, because it's all about balance.
Yeah. No, I hear you, dog. And with you being the asshole, you can tell me, because I want to know. I feel like it's one of my biggest fears is for that to happen, and I don't know why I'm so afraid. Like I'm really thinking, like,
afraid of what?
Fatherhood, man, because I've always been that kind of person who wants to pursue this big vision, big dream, and I feel like stepping into fatherhood means that, like, it's over almost, like I really needed to be like, it's not about me anymore. What's my kid's vision? What's their dream? And I need to make that happen. Versus mine. Go ahead.
With saying that, like, my wife allows me to be creative still and still be available for the family. Like, she knew I was doing this today. I just had to make sure, like literally I was scrambling to get this, and I was waiting for the link. I had to make sure I had dinner for everyone. I had to make sure the kitchen was clean. You know what I mean? Because I had to make sure everything was set. So when I pull myself away from this, it's all good. Because my wife was like, "Yeah, all good." She was, "Are you going somewhere, or is it happening here?" I was like, "No, I'm doing it downstairs." She was like, "No, it's good." Like, you got, it's that support, right? Like I don't know how your childhood was though, but a lot of people who are scared about being a parent is because they, fucking traumatized. You know what I mean? We're traumatized for what happened as youth. Like, it could be you came from a single parent household. It could be that your parents stayed together for the wrong reasons. It could be that you were like me and you're an only child, so you had no one else to tell of what's going on, why mom and dad are fighting. So there's different things, but you already work with kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You already work with kids, so you're patient. Like, having a kid taught me so much patience.
I got you.
So much patience. And then it's very rewarding. And with having a kid, my wife reminds me, always look at the small victories. It can't be everything that, it can't be like, this didn't happen, but this happened. It's like, just take the small wins. You know what I mean? Just like I was going back to what you said, is focus on the good shit. You know what I mean? That's just always gonna happen, regardless. So just focus on the good shit. So parenthood, find the right life partner for you, because that's a lifetime commitment. You know what I mean?
No, for sure.
That's what that is.
Right on, man. I like how you kind of brought it back to where we came from, right? Like how we were kind of brought up, and you got 2 out of the 3 right based on that answer.
Is that right?
That is right. I am an only child. I'll give you that one. And yeah, I mean, sometimes.
Me too, man. Me too. It's different to be an only child, because especially that's why we are so we try to create, because our mind is constantly moving. Because all of our thoughts stay inside.
Yeah, they do.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All of our thoughts. That's why I'm such an asshole, because as an only child, I didn't feel seen. I'm talking so much. I'm trying to be seen. All the extracurricular activities I did, as far as like being a club promoter, like doing a clothing brand with my brother-in-law, and then podcasting. It's kind of putting me out there. You know what I mean? Working for a radio station, it's kind of putting me out there, because like I feel like trying to be seen, right? As an only child, like so people take it where I feel like you're a little bit of an introvert, to where you sit there and then you think about your thoughts, maybe light some incense, and then
Go ahead, continue.
You know what I mean? And like,
Tell me about my life, man.
Preferably like Nag Champa. I'm thinking like Nag Champa. You know what I mean? And drink. You know, or what are the young kids that do? Burn sage. Some of these kids burn sage. You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, no, it's you're more reflective. I'm more like I'm more just talking shit, just to get it out because I can't keep it in.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Therapy.
Yeah. I know, I got you, man. And yeah, actually, like, you know, you talked about not feeling seen, right? I think I come from the other side of like, I felt like I was seen too much and expectations were so much there that's what kind of closed me off. And was like, anything I say gets like, oh, that's great, that's gonna be big, that's gonna be huge. And as a kid, I internalized that. I was like, oh shit, like I shouldn't say anything because then everyone's expectations of me is like so big that I'm not gonna reach them, and cause a lot of anxiety, cause a lot of like anxiousness as far as, you know,
you don't want to set the bar too high for yourself.
Yeah, I didn't want like
security. Overgrowth. Sorry.
No, you're right. No, you made me reflect, man. You made me reflect, and you know what? You're right. When I was younger, I felt like I was more looking for security than anything. But now that I don't have a kid, and I'm at this point in my life, it's all about like, well, how much more can I grow? Like today, I had an interview for like to be a host for this concert series. I don't know if you ever heard of So Far Sounds, but they do shows all around the Bay. But yeah, I interviewed to be a host, and honestly, that wasn't really something I was thinking of. You know, if it wasn't for the podcast, I didn't see myself as somebody that like would be like curating an experience. But what's funny is my parents tell me this. The first thing I wanted to be growing up was a priest. Because I think at like 4 or 5 years old, I was seeing somebody that was up there. People were listening to them. Kind of like
holding church. You was holding church.
Yeah. So I was always in church. Yeah, that too. And you know, as soon as I saw like, oh wait, I don't have to be in church to have the same kind of profession or like same feeling. I could be a rapper and, you know, make music and have people kind of like follow my songs in that way. And yeah, so I don't think I want that anymore. Like I don't see myself as somebody that wants everyone to hear what I say. It's just more so like I want to hear what everyone has to say at this point in my life, and that's why this platform is created, because I want to hear what you have to say, Gus, you know, and everybody else as well. But thank you for that. That was very insightful. That was like, I need to cut that up. That's going to be like the promo video for your pod right here.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
Being religious, growing up in a religious family, going to Catholic school, do you still view religion the same way you did as a kid?
Absolutely not, man. I feel like you could ask a bunch of Catholic kids, and I think a lot of my
especially first generation. Like, were your parents born in the Philippines? I'm assuming you're Filipino.
Yeah, I'm Filipino.
Were your parents born there or born here?
They were born there. I was born there too. I moved here when I was 4.
Oh, shit.
So I feel like, yeah, you know, that's my little flex. Even though the Filipinos, they probably don't fuck with me because there's this whole like Filipino American versus being really, you know, from the motherland thing.
American Filipino.
yeah, exactly. But
I feel
it definitely has changed, and a lot of my classmates at those times, the people I spent K through 8 with, you know, all those years, they've changed more than I have. At least I feel like I'm still spiritual. Like I still think there's like a bigger thing than all of us, you know. And I mean, you know, I've taken a lot of trips, and it expanded my mind in that way of like just
shout out to Peru.
shout out to Peru for sure.
Yeah, shout out to Peru, man. The Machu Picchu choo choo. I already know you're on that train, man. Yeah. I'm not saying it, but I'm saying it. I'm there with you right now.
No doubt, man. No doubt. And yeah, so just those experiences, and like I don't feel wrong for it, right? I don't feel wrong for saying like, you know, what's in the church. It almost feels like church is like Coachella, right? Where it's a business and kind of like, you know what I mean? I don't know if, you know, don't cancel me out there, y'all. But
no.
Yeah.
That's a good way to look at it. For me, just reeling it back, right?
Yeah.
Religions are all great up until people get involved. Religion itself, right? All the religions are dope. And I had a lot of friends growing up who were not Catholic. And what made me open my eyes more prospectively on other religions was this is a Hindu kid telling me this at, I think 16. He was a young kid. He was a smart kid, vegetarian. I remember going to McDonald's with dude, and he'd get a Big Mac with no meat, and I'm like, hey, throw that on my shit because I'm gonna eat all that meat. But
I feel you.
He broke it down to me like this, because I asked him, I go, why are you in a Catholic school then? And if you're not Catholic, and he goes, well, think of heaven as like Disneyland. He goes, you're coming from San Francisco, I'm coming from San Diego, that person's coming from Washington. We're all trying to get to the same place, but we're just taking different paths to get there. And that opened me up, mentally expounded me, like made me really like, oh, okay. There was a time when in 7th grade when we were studying all the other religions, and then I had 2 homeboys, and I went to a Catholic school too. I had 2 homeboys who weren't even like, one was Catholic, the other one wasn't, that converted to Muslim like my 7th grade, and I was like, what?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, you could do that? And then I talked to my dad about it, and then he says, if you want to do that, you have to wait till you're 18. And I was like, okay, bet. Like I figure it, like make sure you really want to do this. You know what I mean? Because 6th grade, our minds are still developing. For me,
for sure,
right?
For sure.
My homeboys probably still practice, but But yeah, sorry. That's it. Religion's dope until people and money get involved.
Yeah, man. I think religion is a personal thing. Like I really think people need to develop that whatever they believe in through themselves. I mean, I get how like we'll look up to the people, like my parents, my mom for sure is super religious and still is today. And I just super appreciate the fact that she's open to my ideas. Like we don't argue about it. Like she wants to know why I think the way I do, and why I think like the God and universe is synonymous. Like they're the same thing in my mind. And she's open to talking about it, and it's refreshing, right? Like I don't think a lot of Asian parents are down to do that. So I am definitely blessed that my folks are open-minded enough to just allow me to figure it out on my own and still believe.
Being Catholic and being from the Philippines, we've seen a lot of different statues of what Jesus or God look like, right?
For sure.
There's the ones, the blue-eyed, blonde hair, and then there's the ones that we've seen that were darker complexion with darker hair. Like sure. Especially in the Philippines, they have that because they're Philippines are all superstitious and everyone's praying to statues. You know what I mean? But that's like the biggest thing in the Catholic religion is like, don't pray any statues or false idols. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I hear you. I think someone...
Not to get religious, but you know what I mean? Not to get religious.
Someone explained that to me, or they said that when they were talking about the difference between Christianity and Catholicism, was that like, oh, Catholics pray to statues. And I was like, ouch, yo. I was like, damn, shots fired. But yeah, man, it's a trip.
I'm Catholic. My son's Catholic. I got married in a Catholic church. But as you get older, you question how things are with the rules that are in play.
For sure.
But no disrespect, it's just an observation.
Just an observation, y'all.
Yeah.
Our opinions are our opinions. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm an asshole. I don't know anything.
I don't know shit, man. I'm a dumbass too. All right, dog. Well, just a heads up, man. We kind of made it to the end of our hour. I don't want to take too much of your time. We didn't, and I don't mind. Like if like this is where I extend the invite to come back again, so we could do some wheel questions and get through the most of it. But you mind?
My fault, man. My fault.
Don't even trip, man. Like I said, I like how when the conversations flow like this because we're just being real. real
Mm-hmm.
people, and you know, you're a podcaster, so you already knew what direction to take this in.
Yeah.
But
Off top.
you mind if you stay like about 5 more minutes to do a couple closeout things?
Yeah. Please.
All right. So I want you to partake in this exercise, this next part. You gotta close your eyes for it though. If you're cool with that.
Yeah.
All right, dog. So eyes closed. Imagine you walking in the forest and you surrounded by like these tall trees, just by yourself, and you want to like just yell out. I'm gonna give you the phrase to yell out, and you let me know how you gonna fill that in. All right. The phrase is I am, I can, I will. So I am blank, I can blank, I will blank. Let me know when you're ready. Feel free to open your eyes and let it rip.
You said it was I am, I can, I will.
Yes, sir.
I am my son's father. I can do anything, and for him I will.
I got you, dog. Now you got that little soundbite if you ever need a reminder, or you know, you could use it in future projects. Appreciate you just rolling with it. And then moving on to our closeout questions. The next question is from Che. Shout out to Che. Che's question for you is, what is the best advice someone has given to you?
Enjoy the moment.
Mm.
Enjoy the moment.
I got you, Gus. My second to last question for you is, what would you like to ask the next guest on 34 Questions?
Next guest on 34 Questions. Oh. Name something. Tell me something that made you happy today.
Tell me something that made you happy today. I'm just writing it down. I'd like to answer this last one too. What made me happy today? You know, I genuinely like work. When I come in, I think what made me really happy today, right, was I was playing pool with these 3 other kids, and we were versus 2-on-2. And then they had this bet going on where it was like some little stupid stuff in my mind where it's like, oh, if me and my team win, then they have to like talk about some gossip. Like, you got to tell me who you were dating that weekend or whatever. And that was like the game, or like that was what was at stake. And just the reaction though, because like it was 2 dudes and me and this girl that were playing. The girl really wanted to know who this dude dated on the weekend. And then we played, and then like I was killing it, doing my thing. At the very end, there was like 2 balls left. They came back though. The 2 guys came back, and at the final shot, they made it. And the celebration was just like hilarious to me. They're like, "Hell yeah, we don't gotta say shit to you," like But they took it super serious because he really felt like, oh man, if we lose, I have to like expose who I'm dating and all this stuff. But yeah, so that definitely made me happy, just because it's those little moments that I hope that like means something to them. And I was just a part of it somehow. That's what made me happy today, man. And thank you for asking. And then now, Gus, last question of the podcast. 100, 200, 300 years from now, your descendants are watching this video. What would you like to tell them?
What do I want to tell them?
Yeah.
Shit's gonna be all right. Shit's gonna be all right.
Gotcha, man. They hear you. I hear you. And any last things you'd like to add before we head out of here? Where can people find your stuff? The pod, $3.99, everything.
Podcast, SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, iHeartRadio, Spotify. I say Twitch, but we don't do shit on there. But we have it.
I'm gonna follow you.
Yeah. Actually, maybe we should do some shit on Twitch. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
If you know how to do that part on your end, let me just pop in and
34. Could you do something for me?
I like it. Let's do it, man.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. Follow me on Instagram, IG, the personal IG, Gus415. Instagram for the podcast at FREE99 podcast, free 99 podcast. Shout out to everyone that's been rocking. Appreciate the time. Shout out to 34 for letting me come and spill my guts. Someone I'm just meeting for the first time today, but it feels like old energy. You know what I'm talking about?
I know what you're talking about, Gus, and
all right, man.
I appreciate you bringing that energy to the pod.
It's good.
Yeah, taking the time to just talk to strangers, let me get to know you, vice versa. I thank you for your questions. It doesn't happen too often on the pod, and it feels good to just have a conversation sometimes. I want to thank the folks out there. If you tune in on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, wherever you're catching it, definitely appreciate your time as well. Remember to reach out, reach forward. As always, much love, and we'll catch you guys next time on 34 Questions. Peace. And I still haven't fixed that last part, but it kind of fades out.